It's time for week 8 in the NFL. Let's talk some football. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back in to another episode for Just a Bet Outside. I am your host, Steven, and we're back to talk some NFL football. That's right. I don't know what to tell you. I am on a 6-bet losing streak on primetime games, and it's absolutely killing me. It's just killing me. Luckily, there's 2 half-unit plays. We'll go over the recap in a bit, but I cannot predict anything in these primetime games. So, quick reminder, speaking of primetime games, we are going to have our first solo Sunday Night Football video. We'll break down the Cowboys and 49ers, preview it, give out our best bets, and hopefully turn this streak around. Maybe having our first Sunday Night Football video on its own will do the trick. We'll find out, but that'll come out on Sunday, so just stay tuned for that one. And then also the World Series Game 1 best bets, as well as a couple series sprinkles. That video is out now for the World Series Game 1 on Friday, or today if you're watching this on Friday. So go check that out as well. It's a busy time in sports, that's for sure. But I'm ready to get into it, and that means it's time for the NFL fun fact. So here we go. It's kind of a trend, actually. The Eagles have now gone 7 straight games without scoring a single point in the first quarter. That's right. When you have scripted plays and all that kind of stuff, I think it says a lot about your coaching, just saying. But anyways, in this video, Thursday Night Football recap. I don't want to do it, but I have to do it. And then we're going to talk Week 8 trends, and oh, baby, did they have a good week last week. Hopefully you guys got some winners from that. Again, these videos are informational. It's not just about what I say for a bet, but if you're following some of these trends or at least using it on your handicaps, they have been doing well the last couple of weeks. They went 10-3 for week 7. And then, of course, we'll give out our 3 best bets, and then we don't have time for the trends parlay, but that will be in the pinned comments below as we're trying to get out a few videos tonight. So just stay tuned for that. Check the pinned comments, and then we'll finish it with the recap. So hit that like button if you haven't already. Leave a comment below. Helps this channel grow. And if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button as we talk all things MLB, NBA, NFL, and also NHL. So let's have some fun. Let's have a great week 8, and let's get this rolling. And it starts with the recap. All right, let's keep this beautiful losing streak going on primetime. That is 6 in a row now. I don't know what to tell you guys. Don't tail me on primetime until I figure it out, I guess. Vikings -2.5. Luckily, these were half-unit plays, but Vikings looked great. 2 touchdowns on the first 2 drives, and then really just didn't do a lot. And they kind of just didn't get as much pressure as I thought they would on Stafford. Stafford also had a lot of time, or had a lot of help, because Puka Nacua, the one player who was single-handedly the reason I lost both bets, I would say. Vikings could not get the job done. They could not cover Puka Nacua. And as of yesterday, when I recorded this video, it didn't look like he was going to play. If he was, it was going to be very limited. So I loved Cooper Kupp this morning at 6.5 receptions. Sure enough, they don't even look at him, really. He ended up with 4 catches. He did have some targets, but it was the Nacua show. I don't know what to tell you. It was just, I guess, a bad read. I didn't think Nacua was going to be playing that much. I didn't think Stafford would literally stare him down on every single play. And we lost. I'm taking the L's. It's on me. And we gotta be better. Honestly, if we take all the primetime games out this year, we're definitely a lot better on the unit count. But again, it's ups and downs, and we have to have a good weekend. It just has to. And I'm determined to do it. I'm locked in, so let's get it rolling. But that's the Thursday Night Football recap. And now it's time for the Week 8 trends. All right, 10-3 last week. Let's see if these trends can keep on rolling. Page 1 here, Browns gone under their team total in all 7 games. 16.5 is their team total. We will talk about that game later. Texans now under in 15 of their last 21 regular season games. That's pretty crazy. 46 is the total now on. Jags 0-4 ATS following a win in their last 5 victories. If you tail that one, that means you're going to go with Green Bay -3.5. Titans 1-5 against the spread this season. Detroit -11.5. That is an absolutely huge number, and the most Detroit's been favored in a really long time. I forgot the exact year, but Jets and Patriots gone under in 5 straight meetings. The total now is 41. Then we got the Buccaneers 6-1 ATS on the first quarter spread. They are -1 on the first quarter spread. We will talk about that game later as well. Kyler Murray has not won consecutive starts since October 2021. We keep saying it, and it keeps happening. He just won last week. So, I mean, really, if you just take that, you're just going to take the Miami money line on that. Eagles-Bengals combined 11-2 to the first quarter under. Kind of a sneaky little trend there. That first quarter under is 9.5. Obviously, a big reason for the Eagles, like I just said in the fun fact earlier, they have not scored a single point in the first quarter. I feel like that alone is enough to just get Sirianni out of there. That is insane. Chargers games have an average combined score of 31.5. Not one has touched 40. This total is 40.5. Caleb Williams throwing 5 interceptions in his 3 road games, so obviously you'd bet over a half a pick there. Chiefs 10-1-1 against the spread in their last 12. So we can say all we want when we used to talk about the Chiefs, how they don't cover big spreads, they don't cover spreads, but they just win. That's false now. They're 10-1-1 ATS last 12, but they're favored by 9.5 over the Raiders. All 7 Carolina games have gone over the first half total. That first half total is 23.5. 49ers 2-9 against the spread last 11 home games. How about that? 2-9 ATS last 11 home games. If you fade that one, that means you're going with Dallas +4 on Sunday Night Football. So that's page 1 of the trends. Hopefully this helps you out with your handicap and your betting. Let's check out page 2 now, and these aren't official, but these are just different numbers that I wanted to give you that I've been giving you kind of all year long. As you can see on the bottom, that was last season's record. Trends now 47-41, picking it up. But quick reminder, Eagles haven't scored a single point in the first quarter. Not only that, they're obviously 0-6 against the spread first quarter, but here's their stats. 5 3-and-outs, 3 turnovers, 175 total yards in 6 quarters of play, and 59 plays on 13 possessions. It has been absolutely terrible. Watch them go out and just score like 21 in the first quarter. But road favorites, 16-2 against the spread since start of week 5. They have absolutely dominated. 61-39 ATS overall this year. You are profiting pretty heavily if you just tail the road favorites. First half overs, 55-36-1, including 14-7 to the over in night games. This is the second best start for first half overs through 6 weeks in 20 years. Stefanski of the Browns, how about 8-17 against the spread versus the AFC North? He is the least profitable head coach ever in divisional games since 2003. That is absolutely wild. They are playing the Ravens. Betting public, I like to give you this number every single week. They've been doing better. 51% or more of tickets is a betting public. Now 48, 53-3 against the spread after a 10-4 week last week for week 7. Favorites now 28-14 against the spread over the last 3 weeks. They are starting to take over after those big dogs were winning earlier in the year. And also the favorites are not only covering most of the time, they're also covering it by 4 points per game. So that's what we got for all the week 8 trends. And now it is time for the best bets. All right, the first one takes us out to Tampa, Florida, where the Bucks host the Atlanta Falcons. Falcons -2.5. Total in this game is 46. Let's talk some big injuries. We know for the Bucks, it's Chris Godwin and Mike Evans, both out. They're 2 biggest playmakers on the offense, obviously. And then also safety Tyke Smith. He's been really good this season for them. Falcons safety Justin Simmons is questionable. Linebacker Troy Anderson is questionable as well. Now, I almost took the -2.5 as the best bet, but I'm just eating the juice. I'm taking the money line. Give me the Falcons on the money line. -138 on ESPN Bet is where I found it. I probably would take it up to about -140. If it gets to -150 and all that, I would just take the under 2 or the -2.5. I like it under a field goal. Although I do think they win by at least a field goal. I think they could win by 7 or more in this one. So first of all, the Bucks team is in trouble. I don't know how they're going to move the ball as consistently without Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. They accounted for 46% of the target share of Baker Mayfield. The highest targeted wide receiver after them two was rookie Jalen McMillan, 6.4%. That's right, it's running backs and tight ends. They're going to have to rely on McMillan, Sterling Shepard, tight end Kate Otten. It's going to be ugly for them, that's for sure. And secondly, the Bucks defense is absolutely awful. I mean, they are terrible. They are giving up almost 26 points per game now, 25th in the league. Here's the problem, their pressure. They blitz at a top 5 highest rate, so they have the top 5 highest blitz rate in the NFL, but only 16th in quarterback pressure rate. Obviously, when you're blitzing a lot and not getting back into the quarterback as much as possible, you're going to be vulnerable on the back end. That didn't sound great. But the problem here is Kirk Cousins has the 8th most pass yards against the blitz this season with 553 yards. He showed it last game against the Bucks. My goodness, did he have a game? How about 509 passing yards for Kirk Cousins a few weeks back against his team? And this Bucks defense is actually getting worse every week. They're not getting better at all. They also gave up 281 pass yards to Lamar Jackson. That's a run-first team. 243 to Spencer Rattler. Did anybody see Spencer Rattler? He was so bad last week, but he threw for almost 250 off him. There are guys wide open. When you watch Tampa Bay games, they can't cover anybody. They can't get enough pressure, but mostly they just cannot cover anybody on the back end. Now they're going against the Falcons offense. Listen, they cooled off last week. Luckily for me, because that meant my Seahawks won, but they were also hurt by 3 turnovers. They still had almost 400 total yards. They out-yarded the Seahawks. But again, 3 turnovers. One of those games just did not go well. The passing game has been clicking since like the very beginning of the season, except for last week. But other than that, it's been pretty good. They have obviously a great matchup. But versus Tampa early this year, they have 550 total yards. I don't think Tampa has the guys who can cover, Drake London, Pitts, Mooney, and all these boys, and as well as Bijan out of the backfield. I just think this is a Falcons. I think they cruised to a decently easy win, honestly, with those two guys out. But I think the Falcons score a lot of points. I like their team total over. Also, the Bucks are just going to lack playmakers. If they're going to score, they're going to have to matriculate down the field. Yep, that's a word. And it's going to be a long drive because they are not going to have Mike Evans to go deep to. They're not going to have Evans getting big chunks in the middle of the field. I think it's just going to be a struggle for them. So I think the Falcons bounce back here and just win the game. Again, I also like them at -2.5, but I'll take a little bit more juice on the money line, and that is my first best bet. All right, this second one takes us out to Cleveland, Ohio, home of the Cleveland Brownies, hosting the Baltimore Ravens. Ravens -8.5. Total in this game is 44.5. Browns money line. I'm just joking. We're not doing that again, but I am counting them on them a little bit. Give me the over 44.5 points in this one. This is another 1-unit play. Let's break this down. Now, Ravens offense versus the Browns defense. Every Ravens game so far has gone over this total. Ravens are 6-1 to the over in general, and they've had some high totals. Also, Baltimore's 9-3 to the over the last 12 road games. They are going over by almost 10 points per game, averaging 56.86 average combined score in their games. This Baltimore offense has really surprised me. I'm not going to sit here and say I thought they were going to be terrible, but I did not think this O-line was going to play this well. They are absolutely rolling. They're the best ground game in the NFL, and it's not even freaking close. The combo of Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson is absolutely deadly. Browns struggle to when you watch the Browns and you see the stats, they actually struggle to cover or to defend those spread runs that Lamar has, and that's why Lamar's had good games against them. I like Lamar. I'm kind of leaning over his rushing yards, but it's about 60 yards his line is right now. I think he's going to get a ton of yards. Browns can sometimes do okay handling a running back, but when it comes to spreading them out and having a mobile quarterback, that's kind of where they struggle. Browns against the run are 11th in yards per attempt, so a little above average. But again, this is a different animal. This is the number one rush offense for a reason. When you have to defend and watch out for Lamar Jackson, and you have Derrick Henry steamrolling right by you, it's extremely tough to defend. Now, last season's matchup, if you don't know, the Browns were the number one defense in the NFL last season. Number one. And what did the Ravens do to them in their two meetings? 28 and 31 points. And by the way, the Ravens on offense last year were not as good as they are this year. I think they are going to put up an absolute crap ton of points here in this one. Obviously, Browns defense are better. They are better at home, but they're not as elite as they were last year. Browns offense, we know they suck, but just hear me out. There's a little hope. They waited too long, in my opinion. I've been waiting for this all season. But 30 for 30 is finally starting at quarterback. That's Jameis Winston. That's right. He is a guy who threw 30 touchdowns and 30 picks in 1 year. He also threw for over 5,000 yards 1 year. This guy can sling it. Let's face it. Could he make some mistakes? Absolutely. But this guy can absolutely sling it. He drove them to a touchdown at the end of last weekend, and he's an overdream. Because what's he going to do? He's gonna sling it. He's going to chuck it down the field a little bit more, which Deshaun Watson never did. I mean, it was dink and dunk all the way down the field. And I know he doesn't have great weapons on the outside, and Njoku is one of their best ones, obviously. But if he does chuck it and maybe he throws some interceptions, it's going to help for an over. It's going to give Baltimore easy chances to score as well. But I think he's just going to push the ball downfield more. I think we're going to see a little bit better offense out of Cleveland in this one. I'm not saying it's going to look pretty or anything all the time, but I just think it's an upgrade, to be honest with you. I don't know what took so long. Jameis Winston is a very capable quarterback in the NFL. And then we look at the Ravens defense. They're an absolute pass funnel. They're dead last in pass yards per game. Dead last, almost 300 pass yards given up per game. One of their probably best DBs, Marlon Humphrey, he is questionable to play as he hurt himself last weekend. They have allowed anybody and everybody to pass on them. Ravens pass rush, they blitz at the 9th lowest rate in the NFL, and their quarterback pressure is middle of the pack. Nothing special there. And this secondary, they need more pressure because it's just not been pretty. And I know the Browns O-line has not been pretty also. But I think Jameis is an upgrade at quarterback. Even if the Browns score 17, let's just say they get 17. We get 30 from the Ravens. That's very possible. 30 to 17 here. 47, we're over this. I think this line is just going down too much. I don't know if it's because Jameis is the quarterback or what it is, but like I said, it can't get worse than Deshaun Watson. So I think we see a lot of points like we did last year. I think the Ravens are just one of those teams. They're just an absolute juggernaut. I think they're going to get close to 30. We just need a little bit from the Browns, or maybe the Ravens just want to score 35 to 40 points on us and get us over also. Either way, I need over 44.5, and that is my second best bet. All right, just a quick reminder, the Trends Parlay will be in the pinned comments below. We didn't have time trying to do all these videos tonight, but I will drop that in the pinned comments. So, third and final bet. Who's ready to be teased, baby? That's right. Give me a 6-point teaser. We cashed it easily last week. Let's cash it again. Chargers -1, Commanders +9, -120 on DraftKings, 1 unit play. Here's the deal. If you don't know how to do it, you pick the Chargers regular spread, which is -7, and then the Commanders regular spread at +3, and then you choose where it says parlay. If it's on DK, you change it to teaser 6-point, and you should get -120 on every 6-point teaser. That's 6 points moved in your favor, and I absolutely love it. So let's talk the first leg. Chargers -1. They pretty much just have to win against the Saints. This is maybe the biggest coaching advantage of the season. First of all, Dennis Allen is not a good coach at all. Jim Harbaugh, one of the best coaches in the NFL. Saints are absolutely horrendous right now. I mean, they are so terrible. No Derek Carr this weekend again. Alvin Kamara questionable, but Alvin Kamara 50 total yards rushing on 20 carries in the last 2 games. They haven't had a run game anyways. Olave questionable. A bunch of guys on defense. The Saints defense the last 4 weeks. If you just change the name from Saints to Panthers, that's pretty much what they are. They've given up an average of 34 points per game the last 4 weeks. Very similar to the Panthers defense, including 33 to the Broncos. Yes, I said that out loud. 33 to the Broncos, as we saw in prime time. They can't get pressure, they can't cover, and they cannot really stop the run either. Chargers and Jim Harbaugh are coming off a tough loss versus Arizona when they let me down because I had J.K. Dobbins, and they decided to all of a sudden throw it 40 times. I don't see that happening. Chargers offense versus Saints. This is their one strength. It's the running game. And even though they didn't show it last week, they will get back to the run game because they absolutely have to. They threw it 40 times and scored like 15 points. It just wasn't pretty. I expect Dobbins to have another good game here. Saints giving up the 4th most rushing yards per game, tied for the most rush yards per attempt in the entire NFL at 5.4 yards per attempt, tied with the Giants. Saints offense maybe looked like the worst offense in the NFL last weekend. Radler looked like he had never played the quarterback position before. I mean, it was so pathetic. The O-line is now getting dominated. The run game is non-existent. This team is very, very bad right now. Chargers will control this game, and I know the Chargers are still possibly without Quentin Johnson and Ladd McConkey on the outside. Hopefully one of those guys comes back, but I don't think they really need a lot of weapons to win this game. I think they're going to control the run game, control this game. Like I said, the Saints are letting everybody score over 30 points. Not saying the Chargers score over 30, but I think they score enough. We just need a 2+ point win here by the Chargers. Second leg, Commanders +9. This line, in my opinion, moved way too much. Washington was a 2.5-point favorite, and now they've moved to 3-point underdogs. If you do the math, that's a 5.5-point line movement because their rookie quarterback is out. That's insane. Yes, Jaden McDaniels is the absolute man, but Mariota showed that he could do it also. He has a similar play style. And what I like about the Commanders' offense is I like their system, their play calling, what they do with their quarterbacks. Mariota, 18 for 23. Yes, it was against the Panthers. I get that. Still, he did look good. I think this offense can keep playing well with Mariota. It's not. I'm not sitting here saying Mariota is the same as Jaden Daniels. Obviously not. But the Bears are in a great sell high spot here. That's who they're facing, by the way. I don't know if I haven't mentioned that yet. But the Bears have won 3 in a row. Congratulations. But they did have a bye to cool them off. But here's the deal with the 3-0. They beat a bad, hobbled Rams team. Not the Rams team we just saw on Thursday Night Football, a terrible Rams team. Then they beat the Panthers. Enough said. Then they beat the Jaguars. Enough said. Are we ready to really say the Bears are back and they're playing really well because they beat those 3 teams? Ask me. I'm a Seahawks fan. We played 3 horrendous teams to start the year. We were 3-0. We looked great. And then we played competent teams and got absolutely rocked. And I'm not saying the Bears are like the Seahawks, but it just pumped the brakes a little bit is all I'd say on the Bears. Commanders team overall this year, they've looked better than Chicago. Even with Mariota, they've looked better. Now they're at home getting 3 points. Or 3 points on the regular line. I'm getting 9. But let's talk about the Bears offense a little bit. Still bottom 12 in both rush and pass. The O-line's been inconsistent. The Commanders are a top 10 blitzing team and top 10 in getting quarterback pressure. It's the one thing they can do. So if they can get some pressure to Caleb Williams, it's going to really help here contain this offense. And then the Bears defense. They've been good, not great against the run, 11th fewest rushing yards. But they did just give up 97 rush yards to Hubbard 2 weeks ago, 94 to Kyron Williams the week before that. I think Brian Robinson can have a pretty good game here as well and kind of control the clock and everything. But Commanders defense, even though it was against weak competition, they have still held the last three of the last 4 opponents to 14 points or less. And I don't think the Bears are considered a good offense either. So, and they've also allowed the 12th fewest pass yards. Pressure has helped with that, obviously. But again, I'm getting +9. So if you want to take +3, that's fine. But I'm getting +9 in this teaser. I think this game goes down to the wire. I think the Commanders have a shot to win this game. So getting +9 is just a huge bonus, obviously. I absolutely love the value here. And like I said, Mariota's not going to be as good as Jaden Daniels, but he should be fine. Just needs to take care of the ball. And I think it's going to be right down to the wire. So give me the Chargers -1. Commanders +9 as my 6-point teaser. And my final best bet, again, the trends parlay will be in the pinned comments below as we got to go get over to that NBA video. But before we get out of here, let's check out the recap. There it is. Falcons on the money line, -138. If you don't want to eat the juice, you can go Falcons -2.5 if you like the Falcons, obviously. 1 unit play over 44.5. Ravens, Browns, -110. 1 unit play. And then a 6-point teaser, Chargers -1, Commanders +9, -120 on DraftKings. If you only have a book that where a 6-point teaser is like -140 or something, I do not recommend playing that. -120 is kind of where I'd play those 6-point teasers. So that's what I got for you for the best bets. The Week 8 trends. Let's have a great weekend. Again, the NFL player props, that video will be out Friday night. We are due to get just on an absolute scorching hot streak. So I know it's coming. I'm just going to stay to the grind. But thank you guys for the support. I really appreciate it. Hope everyone has a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.